Hi, Peter.
Hi.
You are the author of this brand new book.
Yeah.
It's 100 illustrations about our brains, minds, and behaviors.
Yeah.
It makes me very curious about 100 illustration. It's not a common book. Why did you use 100 illustrations?
Because I've realized that I'm thinking in pictures more than in words. So that's the background why working with illustrations.
Oh, I think that's actually for many of us that we think.
Yeah, I think in illustrations, yes.
Yeah. So how did you come up with the idea?
So the background of the book is that I got my diagnosis of ADHD when I was 41 years old. I've been struggling for many, many years up until then. And when I get that diagnosis, I get the recommendations to take a daily exercise of 25 minutes a day, writing or sketching and just doing a brain dump for 25 minutes. And I'm doing that since January 2016. So it's been a lot of 25-minute sessions since then. And a couple of years ago, a friend of mine told me, you should make a book out of all that material. So that's how the book came about.
I can also see that you got some help in creating it.
Yeah, so in order just to sit and sketch on my own and publish, I worked intensely with two people when it comes to checking the facts. So that's the content and the illustrations are based on science and based on facts. So one researcher with Morgana, she's a medical writer with over 15 years of research experience within the field of neuroscience. And Sai is a medical doctor and with a passion for making medical illustrations. So together we have done the illustrations and also making sure they are based on facts. Plus, every chapter has about 10, 15, 20 references to research or fact articles.
Wow. And is this for everyone, this book?
I would say the book is for everyone because it's around our human brains, minds, and behaviors. So, and the illustrations, for example, this one is easy to understand, but still, again, based on facts and research. So this one, for example, is describing why we become addicted to, for example, nicotine or alcohol or sex and so on, because it's connected to our very, very powerful reward system that is distributing dopamine across our brains. So if you wonder why we become addicted to all those stuff, that's because that system has helped us as a species to survive all these years.
So basically you give us information about why we've become addicted and also actually how to solve it?
Well, how to solve it, that's up to us as a society to understand that the reason why some become addicted to certain things and substances, it's again connected to our human brain and that we have been surviving as Homo sapiens. So my only recommendation that we go into that and be more humble about it. That's a very human thing to be addicted because, again, it helped us survive for so many years. So from a history and evolution perspective, all these things has helped us survive. And again, this is just one example of what's covered in the book. So if we move on to just another example from the book, is that, and it was news to me, is that 80% of our neurons are located in the small brain. It's called cerebellum. This small brain, there's the 80% of all your neurons down there.
In a small little area.
In a small little area. And that's 80% down there. And it's mainly controlling movement and balance, but also recent research has shown it's involved in our social behavior as well. When it comes to, for example, coming back to the topic of ADHD, which it's been more discussed in media right now, and it's really important to understand that there are concrete and medical differences between a person with ADHD, being what we call neurodiverse, compared to a person who's what we call neurotypical. And one example, and I'm just making clear that the ADHD is more complex than just a deficiency of dopamine. But if you see here, one example is that the lack of dopamine and dopamine receptors. And in my comparison in the book, it's like, yeah, how the frustration one can feel with bad Wi-Fi. That would be a comparison with a person having ADHD, having low levels of dopamine, the neurotransmitter, and the dopamine receptors. But again, ADHD is way more complex than that.
If I'm a leader, for example, and want to know how to become a better leader, how can I do that with the help of this book?
So one example for this, when it comes to human motivation, there's a difference between external motivators like money and increased status and so on, and also what's coming from the inside, which is intrinsic motivators. And those intrinsic motivators is very, very powerful and strong. And 3 examples of those intrinsic motivators are mastery, autonomy, and purpose. Mastery is that we get very motivated when we master something. We're really, really good at something. That's come as a motivator. Autonomy refers to that you are on your own. You can control your own work situation and so on. That increases the motivation. The opposite is micromanagement, of course, but that's a very strong intrinsic motivator as well. And the last one is also very, very powerful, is purpose. What is your purpose at work? Working with your team members to ensure that those 3 intrinsic motivators are in place and are connecting to the individuals will increase the chance of you as a leader to be successful with your team.
Peter, I'm super grateful for you writing this book because it will make it more easy for me to actually understand information. Illustrations is a super great way. So finally, where do I find this book?
So you can buy the book at Google Play or Amazon.com.